Sitting in the back of my parents' minivan, I was used to the 4-hour-long car ride we would make every single weekend to see my Wamu and Grandpa. Sometimes I would just stare out into the rain, listening to the R&B and rap being played in the minivan. But this time, the drive would be different. I prayed to Santa. Literally, on my hands and knees, I prayed to Santa in front of my window on that Christmas Eve night. The next day, I opened all my presents to find no PSP in sight until a special brown paper wrap gift magically appeared. On the name tag was written from Santa to Lucas, my glorious PSP. Everything I could have wanted was right there, and I must say, it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. It was better. So much better. On that Christmas, my 4-hour-long car ride would be the best part of my day. I sat back and enjoyed Ratchet & Clank Size Matters. Whoever greenlit that name is unhinged. Anyways, sadly I don't have a PSP anymore. And this is one of the many reasons why my wife decided for my birthday to buy me a PS Vita, which I immediately modded, adding in a PSP emulator so I could experience this. This is the best gift I've gotten in a long time. Getting the PSP emulator on here was very simple. There's no need for a computer or any sort of external hardware. You just need a PS Vita and a Wi-Fi connection. You'll also want a large SD card and SD to Vita adapter. But you get this so that you can download the roughly 200 games you're going to download. If you're interested in a tutorial on how to mod this baby, I won't be going over that, but I will link a video down in the description. With the Vita successfully modded, I had access to a free store which contained almost every single PSP and PS Vita game. So I decided to download everything, especially the classics. God of War, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, Patapon, Little Big Planet, Ratchet & Clank Size Matters, and even more God of War. Playing all these games brought back a feeling I hadn't felt in a long time. Relaxation. Many games now feel like a commitment, something you want to section off a chunk of your day to experience, which is fantastic. I want to get lost in Elden Ring. I want to set aside time with the boys to exterminate all Xenos life forms, but sometimes I don't. And for a long time, I felt like I haven't had any other option. This gives me the ability to sit on my couch and just try to hunt one monster. Put on some headphones in a long car ride and enjoy some Hatsune Miku. Or sit on the toilet and crush someone's skull as Kratos. This is not only due to the form factor of a portable PlayStation, it's also because games are structured to be played in bursts. Back in the day, we all begged for PSP and DS games to be on par with console level experiences, full game experiences. Some games did this, like God of War, Uncharted, Golden Abyss, and of course Pokemon. But for the most part, many of the experiences kept in mind the limited time frame most mobile players would have. No one knew if you would be playing on a 4-hour-long car ride or a 20-minute train. So games were structured in a way where you could beat a level in 10 to 25 minutes, but you could binge those same levels if you had enough time. Nowadays, we have this thick boy Steam Deck that can play things like Elden Ring and Cyberpunk. But every time I tried to play those games, it always feels like I was meant to experience them in front of a TV with the surround sound blasting the choir in my ears. I'm not going to have that ascendant experience from a handheld. More importantly, most of these games don't even have good stopping points. I'm not trying to get midway through an intense run on a boss fight only to be told my dentist is ready to see me and I can't pause the game. While mobile games understand that you only have a limited amount of time, but mobile games always feel like a subpar experience. And if there are amazing experiences like Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero, those higher quality experiences almost always devolve into predatory and monetization. These old handhelds seem to perfectly toe the line between a fun experience that's worth my time, yet I can put down at a moment's notice. Even the build of these handheld consoles seems more in line with mobile gaming. Take a look. This is my phone. It can fit in my pocket and goes wherever I go, for the most part. Now, here is the size of my PS Vita. It's amazing that it's almost exactly the same footprint as my phone. And if I had a bigger phone, it would be almost the exact same size. Now let's check out some older handhelds, like the Game Boy Mini, and the DS, and of course, the 3DS. All of these were considerate of space. Then we move on to the Switch. I loved the Switch when it first came out. It finally had a larger screen that many people like myself begged for. It's not really pocketable, so you'll want to carry a slim case, but that's not that bad. This is not pocketable. It's barely portable. Many of the things that we wish for eventually came true, like AAA games and larger screens. But looking back, that kind of diminished the true strength of handhelds, which was quick, portable gaming. I'm not trying to rag on the Switch or on the Steam Deck. There are many reasons why these consoles are amazing, but they're not without their flaws. One of the amazing things this guy can do is emulation. And there are so many emulators out there. I'm sure there are a ton of people who are screaming at their screen that I should have just used the Steam Deck to emulate and not wasted my money on a Vita. Why do we play old games? There are two reasons to play old games: nostalgia and first-time experience. You're most likely playing an old game for the first time because it's an iconic experience. Something that you missed because you weren't born, or you were too young, or maybe you just didn't have the console at the time. Games like Mario 64 and Final Fantasy VII, maybe Street Fighter 2 or the original Tetris. Emulators are fantastic in these situations to experience a game that you've never played on a console you know nothing about, that may be hard to acquire, and that you have no emotional connection to. You're probably not going to jump through all the hoops to obtain a console and a copy of a game that you may not even like. Emulators, on the other hand, are relatively easy to set up, and many have the technology to improve the way games look and feel. Take a look at Monster Hunter on the PS Vita. It looks very, very good. Now, let's take a look at Monster Hunter on my emulator. This looks gorgeous. It's actually amazing. Now I look back at this, and this looks like shit. Emulators can work magic to make the visuals of the game align more with your rose-tinted memories of what you thought the game looked like. Plus, some of these games had horrible control schemes because of the consoles that they were on. Like Monster Hunter, where you control your character with the left stick and the camera with the left D-pad. So, how am I supposed to play this? While on the emulator, I can just remap the controls. This way, it's way more comfortable to play the game. What's the real reason most of us play old games? It's nostalgia. We want to feel the authentic hardware in our hands. The way it snaps when it opens, or the precise diameter of the buttons that the controller had. We want to hear the system menu as it boots up. Maybe hear a couple small noises that were lost to memory but then revealed themselves. We want to sit on the couch the exact same way we did when we were tired after a long day of school and didn't want to move. Playing the game isn't just about playing the game. It never was. It's about the whole experience. Every single piece of that experience is valuable and brings you a step closer to that moment in time. So you may ask the question, why did Mel get me a PS Vita when I had a PSP as a kid? Well, good question. Cheers to you for paying attention. You see, I sold my PSP and my large collection of games. My family was not wealthy, and I saw the two new shiny consoles that had been out for a while, the 3DS and the Vita. I would need to wait a while for the possibility of getting one, and that was not certain, so I sold my PSP for a 3DS. So many more people that I knew had a 3DS, and I did love my DS Lite back in the day, but as I played it more and more, I realized more and more that I had made a mistake. The PS Vita called out to me. So I sold my 3DS and got a PS Vita. And yet again, it was not as good as I thought it would be. It was better. Tearaway, Little Big Planet, Killzone Mercenary, 2 analog sticks. I was in heaven. I just wished I could have been in heaven with my PSP in hand. But now, with this PS Vita, I can. Guys, never sell your childhood memories. The Pokemon card that you cherish, the old console that you love from your childhood, who cares how much it costs? Your childhood memories mean more, and being able to re-experience it and be happy that you have it is worth something. All of this was spearheaded by Mel, who loves handhelds. She originally bought a Steam Deck, and while she does love the Steam Deck, it made her reflect on why she loves handheld consoles.
I may have a bit of a handheld gaming obsession. For those who don't know me, hello, my name is Mel, I'm Luke's wife. I run a nerdy gamer build channel on YouTube called NPC Lab, and handheld gaming is probably my most favorite way to play my nostalgic video games. Most of my handheld gaming experience is with Nintendo, which is quite the opposite of Luke. And it all started with this Game Boy Micro, which eventually turned into a Game Boy Advanced SP, which is lost in my dad's garage somewhere, but I will find it. Once the DS Lite rolled around, I had this amazing light pink DS Lite that got lost for a few years. Funny story, not too long after I got this metallic pink DS Lite, my original light pink DS Lite was found in the couch, and because I didn't understand how technology worked, I drowned it in the sink because it was dirty from being literally inside the couch for years. I know what you're thinking. I've come a long way, okay? Eventually I got this metallic purple 3DS around the time I was 12, and this became my favorite of the handheld consoles I've had, and it is still currently my favorite. I played hours and hours of Animal Crossing New Leaf, Mario Kart 7, Pokemon X and Y, and tons of other games on my 3DS. Also got myself this behemoth, the Steam Deck. And although I love my Steam Deck, and it emulates those games that I love to play on the Game Boy or the DS amazingly, something about it just wasn't the same. And it wasn't until our best friend Billy, aka Bibly on YouTube, he helped me jailbreak my 3DS so that I could play all my favorite 3DS games on the 3DS, that I realized that I really liked playing my favorite nostalgic games on their assigned nostalgic consoles. It's the feeling of the handheld, the audio quality that was available at that time. It's the sitting in a ball on the couch or in my bed, spending hours and hours playing my favorite games. Clearly, I love buying new handhelds, but I realized I like to play my new games on my new handhelds and my childhood favorite games on the handhelds that made those games special to me in the first place.
So for the future, I'm excited to see where Nintendo goes with their next console. How does their version of DLSS open up opportunities for the form factor and the way we game? I'm done with this console, guys. I loved it, but it's been too many years. Then you have Sony, who's rumored to be working on a portable console which can run the whole PS5's catalog. What does this look like? Is it the size of a Steam Deck? Does it cost $800? Do they continue to support it if it doesn't sell gangbusters? Does it even exist? I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm happy with this. I'm so happy with this. So subscribe and go follow me on Blue Sky and on Twitch at LockedInLuke. See ya, guys.